The biggest struggle for mature skin, it's finding a concealer that covers dark circles without taking up permanent residency in our crow's feet. In today's Friday Face-Off, we want to know which drugstore concealer really holds up for our more mature skin. When we're not talking drugstore, my holy grail concealer is the RMS Revitalize Concealer. But when you're at the drugstore aisle, it can be a little overwhelming to say, this is my budget, now where do I spend my money? So today we are testing the e.l.f. Hydra Concealer, which is one of my all-time drugstore favorite concealers, up against the newly released Essence Silky Blur. Now, I have not tried this concealer, so we're gonna figure it out together. The e.l.f. Hydra Concealer offers full coverage. The Essence Silky Blur offers medium but buildable coverage for those days when you want a little bit more or a little bit less. The e.l.f. Hydra Camo Concealer offers more of a silky finish, and even though silky is in the name of the Silky Blur, this is a soft matte finish, which on the surface can be a little problematic for our more mature skin because matte typically means more drying, but we're gonna see if with proper prep, that's not an issue. Both offer hydrating ingredients. e.l.f. offers rose water flower, and the Essence offers glycerin, hyaluronic acid, and squalane. So as we apply both of these, we'll talk more about the formulation, the consistency of the formula, the applicator, and of course, an 8-hour wear test. A key step to get any under eye product working its best is to prep the under eye area. Before we started, I added the Volume Up Time Block Cream to hydrate this under eye area, and I want to give it at least 5 minutes to absorb. First, on the e.l.f. side, you'll notice you do start off with a very large doe foot applicator. So I like to take the product directly on the back of my hand. I will link the shades down below, you guys, because it says right there in really small print. And of course, I have readers all over the place, but none in here right this second. So I will list the shades that I'm using down below. I'm just gonna warm up that product a little bit between my fingers, allowing it to get a little bit tacky. Now you'll notice the discoloration. If your under eyes are darker than this, you might wanna apply a thin layer of a color corrector first, and then go in with a thin layer of a concealer. I'm not gonna do that today because I wanna see, can we get good coverage out of these concealers? Since one's a full coverage and one's a medium buildable coverage, without applying too many layers and getting it too heavy, I want to see what one layer does in terms of the coverage. That way you'll know if you'll need a color corrector or will you be able to conceal this area with just one product. So I'm just going to lightly, so now that that product's a little tacky, I'm just going to go in really lightly in that under eye area, trying to avoid where my deepest creases are. Now, typically I would set my concealer with a very light dusting of powder. I'm not gonna do that today because I wanna see, again, how these products wear without the aid of an additional product. Now, most makeup artists will tell you that you do need to set your under eye concealer with a light dusting of powder to really lock it in place. And I 100% agree with that. But powder doesn't always work well with everyone. So I want us to leave this video knowing we have a baseline that, okay, the concealer does last. And if I set it with powder, I would get even longer wear out of it. So we're just gonna see how these perform 8 hours without the aid of a powder. Now, as I'm putting this on, I'm realizing that I may need to change the shade of my concealer. I've been using this one for so long that I just keep buying the same shade, and I'm realizing that because I've gone a little darker with my foundation, this shade might not be the same one. Isn't that funny how we just get in a habit and we just go into autopilot and do what we've been doing, and not until you're putting together a YouTube video that you're like, huh, that concealer might be a little bit too light for what I've got going on with the rest of my makeup. But that's not what we're talking about today. We want to know what kind of coverage. That's pretty good coverage. I can still see a little bit of discoloration, so I'm going to go in. Again, on my fingers is how I love to apply concealer because I feel like I get better control and I can blend it in a little bit better, and I don't get more product than I need. Have you guys ever noticed that when you apply too much concealer, it is just on our more mature skin? I don't think that when I was younger, before I had wrinkles, too much concealer was never a concern. Nowadays, less is more, and I see that to be the case definitely with this delicate under eye area. If you guys have a favorite drugstore concealer, will you let me know in the comments below, because I am always looking for one. I struggle with drugstore price point concealers, so I keep going back to the one by e.l.f. because I do really like it as compared to many others. The other drugstore concealer that I wear periodically is the Age Erase by Maybelline. Is that what it's called? Age Rewind, something rewind erase. You know, this one. I use it in 160 though. This is the very pink shade. And I don't use this as a concealer. I will use this every once in a while if I need to brighten up this under eye area. I almost use it as a color corrector first, only on like really good glam days, and I will tear off the sponge tip applicator. So if you have watched me before and you're like, Jody, do you still use that? Yes. This one by Maybelline in shade 160 to brighten up the area, because you'll see it's that really nice light pink. But other than that, I struggle with concealers when it comes to drugstore price point. And let's face it, with the price of gas and everything else right now, why pay more for concealer if you don't have to? I shared with you guys that these Essence Silky Blur were sent to me in a PR package, which I'm very grateful for, so thank you, Essence. But it was perfectly timed because as I'm always on the hunt for a new concealer, I'm glad these came along. I don't know my exact shade yet range, so we're gonna play with it a little bit. This is shade 160. Ooh, big difference in that doe foot applicator. Very small and curved. You could go in with this one because it is so much smaller than the e.l.f. Let's just get that out for point of comparison. I don't know why e.l.f. did that. If you're gonna market a product for more mature skin and a product that you need to apply as light-handed and delicately as concealer, why do we have such a big applicator? But I'm not on the design team at e.l.f., so what the heck do I know? All right, so this is shade 160. That's nice. They sent me all 20, I think it's 21 shades, and they also sent me a return envelope where you can send these to a shelter so that they can get used by people of domestic violence challenges. So here's 120, here's 150, and here's shade 160. Now I like 120 better, but I think I need 150 or 160. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's gonna be 150, this little lighter pinkish one, which I like. I like that a lot, so that was 150. All right, we're gonna go with this one. Now this is medium to full coverage, so you can build it, which we may need to build depending on how well it covers this dark area under my eyes. And this is a soft matte or silky matte. I had to laugh a little bit, you guys, because silky matte is sort of I don't know that there is such a thing, because matte is matte and silky is a little bit more shiny. So to say it's a silky matte, I wanna know what that means. So we're gonna take a look. So you can see that discoloration right through there that I fight with. We're gonna put this right there first and see how it does. Already I can tell you that the formula feels a little more silky, easier to work with, where the e.l.f. is a little bit more of a stiff formula, less serum-y feeling, if that makes sense, where this one feels a little bit more like a serum, which it's not. It's not marketed as a serum concealer. The RMS one is definitely marketed and does wear like a serum, which for my mature eyes that have seen a lot of laughter and some tears, and that's why there's some wrinkles, I'm grateful for them. But I like a concealer that doesn't show my whole life story that's written on my face. I don't need that to be on display for everyone. That is good coverage for one coat of concealer. Yeah, I think I picked the right shade. That was 150. All right, I'm gonna leave it there. I think what we'll do, you guys, is because it says it is, I'll pick up the right shade again. Now, because it says it's buildable, let's just build a little bit more to see. I think right off the bat, this one says it's full coverage, this one says it's medium coverage. I feel like Essence covers a little bit better, and it's a medium coverage. Now, in terms of finish, does this one look a little bit more glowy or dewy? Because it is a natural finish, where the Essence says that it is a silky matte finish. I can see a little bit more of a, I wouldn't call it a glow by any stretch, but the light is reflecting off of it, which I don't know that I love. And on this one, it's just a little bit more of a, I don't want to say dull, but a soft matte. Okay, it definitely builds to a nice full coverage. Yeah, I think I like that better than the e.l.f. one. I'm gonna just go and press out any wrinkles and take a look at what we've got upon application. Now, Most products look really nice after you apply them. It's as we go through the day that we're like, oh my gosh, what happened to this concealer, or not. And hopefully as the day goes by, we will keep looking in the mirror and go, wow, that is really pretty. I like that shade 150. I could have probably went with 160. What do you guys think? This one's definitely too light for me anymore, so I need to change that up on the e.l.f. side. But only if it comes out on top for this review. All right, you guys, so that's what we've got up on application. Here is what both of these concealers look like at the 8-hour mark. I do feel like the e.l.f. side wore a little bit. The discoloration's coming through ever so slightly. Now, if you were to set both of these with powder, that would not be the case. So let's keep that in mind. If we'd have put a light dusting of powder, I would have got longer wear out of both of these. But without the powder, the e.l.f. slips a little bit, which is to be expected because it is more of that softer, serum-y type formula. But again, with powder, I think this would have been a nice look. In terms of the Essence side, I like how the pigment is still there, the coverage is still there. I do feel like you get a little bit of a blurring, which it is in the name, and there are blurring ingredients in the formula. So I do like that little bit of blurring. I think I would have liked both of these had I set them with a little bit of powder. Little bit of powder, like on my fingertips, press it out, and then press it in. But without powder, you guys decide for yourself which one you think wore better, e.l.f. or Essence. If you're somebody that doesn't wear foundation, but you spot conceal in some areas and then you blend it out a little bit, I think that's where this Essence would come in really helpful because it does have that blurring property and it blends very nicely, and you can take it from a medium to a full coverage. If you have oily under eye area, this is a really good option for you because it does have more of those drying properties. That being said, if you're normal to dry like I am, you want to make sure you prep that under eye area before applying this concealer, and you'll get a good 8 hours of wear out of it. A light dusting of powder and it will look as good as it did when we started this morning. I think the bottom line here is without powder, the e.l.f. wore off faster throughout the day than the Essence did. I think they both still look nice, but this doesn't look like a soft matte to me. Do you guys think so? The finish? Remember, this finish is that satin finish where this is a soft matte. I think the finish looks about the same, minus the fact that my purple discoloration is shining through. But in terms of the overall blur of the under eye area, I think the Essence looks better. But the final decision is in your hands. What do you guys think? Which look do you want for your 8-hour look of concealer? And again, at a drugstore price point, neither one of these are a fail. You just gotta find the coverage that you like and the finish that you like. But for me, I think I might go with the Essence on this one. All right, you guys, that does it for this week's Friday Face Off. If you like drugstore options, be sure to check out the live stream that I did just last week. I'll link it right here. I'm sharing with you 4 of my favorite drugstore dupes for their high-end counterpart. And you don't want to miss Sunday's video. It's coming up. It's all about tinted moisturizers, perfect for this time of the year. And be sure to like this video, hype it, and if you're not already, subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys in just a couple days. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.